Welcome back to Grace and Roses. I am your host, Keisha Holden. And today's episode, of course, a lot of times things are inspired by my therapist. So we were talking about a very important topic that we don't discuss enough. It's very close to my heart, and the topic is on rest. I said it. It's become like a 4-letter word, but let's take that out of it, right? Rest is very important. And in our busy lives, it can feel like rest is a luxury, but it's not. It's actually very essential for our well-being. And I don't mean just catching a few more Z's, but I mean actually resting your heart, your mind, your soul, and your spirit. Today, we'll explore the different types of rest, which are physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional, and how they work together to create a life of peace and fulfillment. And then we're going to talk about how the Bible encourages us to embrace rest. So go ahead and grab your cup of tea, settle in, and let's find some rest together. Today's episode was also inspired by the story of Mary and Martha, right? And if we look at Luke 10:38 and 42, rest is a form of worship, right? So you have Martha, who's busy and she's preparing for guests, and she's laying out a spread for the people that are coming to visit, and she's passing out drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and she's being a social butterfly, just making sure everything is ready and set and ready to go. And then she catches a tude because her sister is sitting at Jesus' feet. And she tells Jesus that Jesus, like, what's going on? She's sitting down and I'm doing all this work and blah, blah, blah. Tell her to get up and do something. And Jesus gently rebukes her and says, you've chosen your part. She's chosen to sit here at my feet, and she's chosen the right thing, and it's not going to be taken away from her. And a lot of times we will sit at Jesus' feet, we'll take our time for ourselves, and people will be upset about it. But I want you to know that resting is not a bad word. God encourages us to rest, okay? So let's go through the types of rest and what God says about it, okay? So physical rest. Let's start with the most basic form, right? Our bodies. We all know the feeling of being utterly drained, both physically and mentally. The Bible tells us in Exodus 20:11, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Here, God sets the standard of rest, taking a day to rejuvenate after he made creation. So at the same time, we need to prioritize physical rest, getting enough sleep, allowing our bodies the time to recover from exercise, and simply just slowing down. They're all crucial for physical well-being. And so what happens when we don't get enough sleep? We're sluggish, we're irritable, and our concentration suffers. But chronic lack of rest can lead to more serious health problems. Getting enough sleep allows our bodies to repair and recharge, and it strengthens our immune system, it boosts our metabolism, and it helps to regulate our hormones. We get it? So we're going to rest our bodies, okay? Let's move on. So it goes beyond the physical. We got to work on our mental rest as well. So our minds crave rest too. Constant stimulation, information overload, it can all leave us feeling very overwhelmed and very, very anxious. You always feel like you're on edge when you don't have enough mental rest. So this can lead to anxiety, stress, and even depression. Taking time to rest allows our minds to declutter and process information, and it gives us space to be creative, to solve problems, and simply just to be present in the moment. Philippians 4:6-7 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, you got to have a heart of gratitude. Present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. So this verse reminds us to just be quiet. Quiet your mind in prayer. Focus on gratitude. Take time for meditation. Spending time in nature or simply disconnecting from social media can help you achieve mental rest. Now let's talk about spiritual rest. This is about finding peace and contentment in your relationship with God. It's about letting go of control and trusting in his plan. Matthew 11:28-30 says, "Come to me, all you who are heavy, weary, burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle at heart, and you'll find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And this beautiful passage assures us that God offers us spiritual rest, a deep sense of peace that transcends all of our circumstances. Spending time in prayer, reading scripture, just being out in nature. Just go for a nature walk. It's getting nice out now, so go for a nature walk. And it can deepen your spiritual connection and lead to spiritual rest. When you have spiritual rest, you find connection and contentment in God, and we can all use a bit more of that. You hear his voice more clearly and on a different level. And with this connection, your spiritual eyes are open and your heart is focused on pleasing him. Finally, my favorite, let's not forget emotional rest. This is about allowing yourself to feel your emotions, feel all your feelings without judgment and with creating space to heal from hurts and disappointments. Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." And sometimes emotional rest comes from simply being still and acknowledging how we feel. Talking to a trusted friend, your therapist, spiritual leader can be a great way to process emotions and find emotional rest. When you keep things bottled in, and I can testify about it, it has no other choice but to burst in ways that are detrimental to your physical, emotional, mental well-being and can have negative consequences on your relationships. So how do we make rest a priority? We're all super, super busy. But how can you make rest a priority? It's not easy. It definitely isn't, but it's worth the effort. So I'm going to give you a few tips to do it. Schedule rest time. I have a whiteboard. I have my work phone for my calendar, and I have my personal phone for my calendar. So everywhere I look, there's some type of calendar, and on each, not only do I have work and ministry and all of my things scheduled out, I also have days for Keisha. So mark it how you want, but mine are marked with red hearts. And even in my calendar on the phone, I have either a red heart or a red rose. This is my Grace and Roses day, right? And so block out time in your calendar for relaxation, just like you would for any other appointment. Make it a priority. And then set boundaries. So learn to say no. No is a complete sentence, right? It's no, period. You don't have to say no, and this is why. And you just be like, no, that's not on my schedule for today, right? And once you train people and train yourself on these days, these no days, this is my Grace and Roses day, then it becomes way easier and people are trained so they know not to bother you at that time. So, for example, my devotion starts at 6 a.m. And from 6 a.m. to 6:30, that's me and God. So my phone is on Do Not Disturb. And anyone that tries to come through on that time, they're ignored. And they know 6 to 6:30, Keisha's with God. And then from 6:30 to about 7:15, I'm working out. So that's my time, and everything is done before 8 a.m. So then I can sit down and I can rest and I can do what I have to do to get my day started. But that's how I start my day, and I don't let anyone interrupt that. So get into that habit of having this disciplined time that no one can interrupt. No means no. And then disconnect to reconnect. Take breaks from technology, take breaks from social media. Social media drains your brain. And this is where it came from. This is where the inspiration came from when I was talking to my therapist. Social media drains your brain. And I found that there are a couple times throughout the day, if I'm on social media for too long, it feels like my brain is just mush. So instead of being on social media, I'm turning that around into listening to my audiobooks or listening to podcasts, and just trying to massage my brain so I'm constantly working. It's not a bad thing, but I'm not draining my brain on things that are frivolous. I'm putting that mental space onto something that will strengthen my inner person and that'll strengthen my spirit. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So disconnect from social media just for a little while. Take some breaks from social media. You don't always have to be on your phone. You don't always have to be on your computer. Take breaks. Even I work from home. But even if you're like working from home, you're sitting all day, take those breaks where it's like a 10-minute walk outside. Like I said, I'm in Connecticut. It's getting really nice out. So my mission, while it's nice, just take a 10-minute break to breathe, and just to be with God and walk and pray, and just connect spiritually with God. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. Find activities that bring you peace, whether you're reading, spending time in nature, because that keeps coming up, or listening to music. Find things that help you unwind. Find things that bring you peace. Read a book, listen to a book, spend time in nature, listen to music, retail therapy if you need it, whatever, but if it brings you peace, do it. Cooking, cleaning up the house, just little things. Find ways to bring you peace. And then don't be afraid to ask for help. I am guilty. This girl right here, I don't know how to ask for help. And it was something else that I talked to my therapist with. But don't be afraid to ask. Delegate tasks, and don't be afraid to say that you need a break, right? If you're feeling overwhelmed, definitely tell someone, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need a break, and take the break that you need, and actually take the break. Breathe. So delegate tasks and don't be afraid to ask for help. So I have a recommendation for you guys. It's called the Balance app. And Balance is created by Elevate Labs, which is a company on a mission to improve people's minds. They've helped over 50 million people improve their communication, math, and memory skills with their first app called Elevate. With Balance, they've created an innovative, personalized meditation experience that helps people improve their stress, sleep, focus, mood, and more. Balance allows you to track your symptoms, access personalized expert content, and download a health report. You can share stories in the community and lots more. I've been using Balance to help my stress, mood, sleep, and more. So if you want to try it, there's a link in my bio. They're offering a free year to all new members. So go down to my bio, click the link, sign up for Balance today. This is not a paid advertisement. I'm only recommending what I know and what I've used and what I can stand behind. So try Balance, see if you like it. You get it for free for a year, so there's no risk to join. So prioritizing rest is not a sign of weakness, but is a sign of self-compassion and stewardship over the gifts God has given us. So in the comments below, I want you to share your favorite ways to find rest. What helps you recharge physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally? Let's create a community of support for each other in this journey of wholeness. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you make some time to prioritize rest in all its forms. And remember, a well-rested you is a more joyful, more present you. And the world needs your light. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and give yourself grace and roses. I'll see you next time.